Well, good morning. It's a pretty nice morning this morning. We got a ripper of a thunderstorm last night. I'm not sure what time it come through, but everything's still soaking wet here this morning. So anyways, gotta get morning chores done. I don't have to feed the chickens. I just gotta feed the pigs. Got this bucket of grain. I must have done that last night. I forgot about that, so that's good. That's taken care of. If you're wondering what we feed our pigs, this is just a mix of peas, oats, and barley. And you know, we're new to pigs. We had a pig previously, but not a lot of experience. So we had to ask, you know, our neighbors. They keep pigs, and do a little bit of, well, I wouldn't say research. We looked on the internet for other people that did research, and a lot of the data you find on the internet comes out of the States. So they feed a lot of corn, soybean meal, stuff like that. There's really not. I mean, here in northern Alberta, those crops just don't grow, right? Because we don't have a climate for it. So to feed that stuff, it's just not economical for us to raise our own. Well, it's hard economical already to raise our own pork, but we're doing it because, you know, we want to know where our food comes from. But in this case, research shows, I mean, the barley, very digestible, high energy levels, good stuff. What the peas do is they add lysine, so that's an amino acid that helps with digestibility. Plus it also provides a vegetable source. And the oats is a good balance kind of in between there. So yeah, that's what we feed. We get all hammer milled up. Robin Bloom does it over at Bloom Enterprises. We get these giant bags. This one's about 2/3 full. We put 1,800 pounds of feed in there, and then it'll last, I don't know, about 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that. And then we get another bag. So we'll go through three to four of those by the time the pigs are ready to butcher. So we also feed our pigs kitchen scraps. You see they got some onions and some, looks like lemons, a little bit of lettuce back there. Pigs are omnivores, so they need a balanced diet. And I mean, you could raise them on pasture, essentially. I mean, they could just sit and eat grass all day and root around and eat roots and stuff. And they do just grand. We give them the grain for, well, 2 reasons. Protein content, fattening content, and then as well for the amino acids like I mentioned earlier. We also got some old hay over here that the cows won't eat. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but it's whatever they toss aside. The pigs will munch away at that, and it's good for fiber, right? So they'll munch away at that slowly, and probably be 2 or 3 months before they process all of this down. And this is kind of an ongoing garden project, where as they process it, I'll just restack it, and they just turn it into compost. It's pretty cool. And then water. Oh my God, do they ever go through a pile of water? So yesterday they went through, what would it be? About 20 gallons of water. 5 pigs, 20 gallons of water. So we've got the water trailer over here, and then every day I fill up this black tub, and then I got one inside of a tire here. I put this one inside of a tire just because as they're rooting around and farting around, they would, you know, they can knock it over and then make a mess and then dig around in it, and then all their water's gone for the day. And if you're not home for 2 or 3 hours or however long, you know, that would really suck. They'd get pretty thirsty. So this tub fit perfectly right inside this tire, and then they can go up, they can get their drink, they can splash around a little bit if they want to splash around, but they can't get it and dump it out on the ground. So it works pretty slick. You can see what Wilbur's doing here, rooting around. He's digging for grains that got buried in there, but he's also mixing natural soil in with organic matter and manure. And that's what creates this like high turnover, high density compost. So Carmen's actually running to the hardware store today. We've got strawberries of chicken traz here. We had to build quite it's almost like a Jurassic Park style electric fence that came around the strawberry patch, just to keep the chickens out and the dogs from, you know, going and digging up all these strawberries. But if you look at these strawberry plants, turned out just beautiful. There's quite a few ripe ones in there. I'm sure she'll harvest today. And then I think she's gonna build like fence panels, like portable fence panels that she can move. And then we could take all this electric fencing down and move it somewhere else where it can be more productive. I want to try and get some of the actual farmyard on the east side of the house over there manage. You can see along the lambing pen that, well, maybe you can't, it's pretty far away from here, but anyways, there's a ton of grass over there that, you know, it's clover, alfalfa, like it's good pasture mix. It's not good lawn. So we need to, you know, use some of the animals to manage some of that. So the netting, the sheep netting, oh my God, is that stuff expensive. But if we could afford it, I mean, it's like almost $300 for a 164-foot roll. And we'd need like probably 5 or 6 rolls to do what we want to do. So, I mean, you get into that almost $1,000 range by the time you pay GST. You can get, you know, you can buy a lot of hay for $1,000. So I'm just down here at the dugout pasture just before I head off to work. I just want to check, make sure they still got a salt block, which they do, and look at the conditioning of the grass. And so you can see the stuff along the fence here is eaten down pretty good, but then you get a little bit, and this is just where they walk and they spend a lot of time, so that's why it gets eaten down more. As you get further out, there's still good recovery in the clover. Some of the fescue stuff is nipped off and it's not coming back up. It's a slower recovering grass anyways. And all the sheep are off on the far pasture. We kick that gate open. This is one where we let them graze down and then we just move them over. We don't keep them secluded that. They come back into the dugout pasture for their water source. And that works quite well. And then next year when we get the next fencing project done, we'll get them into that pie-shaped piece, I think, just beyond there. One thing we don't do here is multi-species rotational grazing. So what you'll see some farmers do is they'll run pigs through and then they'll till and they'll work up the soil and they'll eat a lot of the weeds and stuff like that. They get a lot of that roughage, stuff like this, you know, dandelions or brambles, sorry, raspberry bushes, all that rough stuff. They get that all chewed down, till up the soil. You can spread some grass seed in there. Once that's all worked out good, then you can run cows through there, followed by sheep and chickens. And the chickens do all the spreading of the manure and they eat the fly larvae and stuff like that. We don't do that here, and it's not a social choice or you know, we're just not set up for it. I think it's a really good, positive way of regenerative agriculture, but we're not set up for it. One day, maybe one day, but for now, I don't know. We got so many projects on the go. You know, we don't have a good cattle handling system or a good sheep handling system. We can barely manage our chickens. I mean, that's why they free range, is just because who can herd chickens, right? There's processes out there, but they require investment of time and money, and you know, there's only so much of that going around. Anyways, I gotta head off to work for the day. And yeah, because we're not just farmers, right? We've got full-time jobs as well. So anyways, I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.